Let's talk about immigration. You did mention the border. I have talked to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Both Democrats and Republicans have said that there is a crisis on the border. Now, the ways to fix that obviously are very mixed. But you on MSNBC said within the last week that you want to look at immigration as a positive. So what would you do to resolve this border crisis?
Immigration is a positive for this country. It always has been. We have a situation where, we have a declining birth rate like China, and we have a low unemployment rate, which is great. Our legal immigration policy has to be pegged to objective metrics like unemployment and our declining birth rate. The difference between China and the United States is nobody wants to go to China. Everybody wants to come here. So I think that's number one. Number two, we have to secure our border. This catch and release policy, the waiving of Title 42, those are things that have created chaos at the border. To have 6, 7 million undocumented people in our country in a short period of time. We've seen Democrat mayors, like you said, Democrat public officials come out against that. So that has to change. We have to treat the border like the crisis that it is, including the fentanyl crisis that it's created in our country that affects the entire country. We've got to stop the rise of socialism in our hemisphere. This is something that is creating poverty in our hemisphere, that's creating immigration pressure. People don't want to leave places like Argentina, Colombia, Brazil. They would love to stay there. The problem is that those places are becoming increasingly hostile to their own citizens, and so they don't have a choice. So we have to start building, we have to have a strong OAS, we have to start building coalitions in our own hemisphere, and that's at least the beginning part of it. Obviously, we have a tremendous amount of undocumented in our country, and I think having a Republican Hispanic president could help break that logjam of what we do with those undocumented and illegal people in our country.
How would you specifically break that logjam? What would that conversation look like? What would you specifically do?
Well, I think it starts with having a Hispanic Republican president, right? The fact that Hispanics will now become more Republican, hopefully under my tenure. The fact that I've motivated more Hispanics to become Republican takes away a little bit of that boogeyman issue. That if you were to give people who are undocumented some sort of legal status, whether it's citizenship or not, you're not creating a bunch of voters for the Democratic Party. I think that's something maybe that historically might have weighed on the minds of Republicans. You demystify that immediately. And I think that creates a healthier conversation. I also think as a Hispanic, you can talk directly to those immigrants in their native language, understanding the nuances and the differences from the countries that they come from, and also crafting a policy, a foreign policy that addresses that. I have to give the former president a lot of credit. He got a tremendous amount of no arrival Cubans and Venezuelans because his Cuba-Venezuela policy was well tailored to understand the nuances of those communities and to benefit those communities.